If you want to make a Hytale server, this is how you do it. Step 1. Make sure you have at least 4 GB of RAM, and after, install Java 25. I'll have a link in the description for each thing to download. Next, obtain the server files. First, manually copy from your launcher installation. 2. Use the Hytale downloader CLI. Find the files in your launcher installation folder. Windows looks like this, Linux looks like this, and macOS looks like this. List the content of the directory, and the expected output looks like this. Copy the server folder and assets.zip to your destination server folder. Next, download the Hytale downloader.zip. Now to run the Hytale server. Start the server with this command line. Now to authenticate your server. After first launch, authenticate your server by typing in this. Once authenticated, your server can now accept player connections. Default port is 5520, and you can change it with the -- bind argument. Now for the firewall and network configuration. Hytale uses the QUIC protocol over UDP. Configure your firewall and port forward accordingly. If hosting behind a router, forward UDP port 5520, or your custom port if you have one, to your server machine. TCP forwarding is not required. Now for the firewall rules. If you're on Windows using the Windows Defender firewall, put in this command. If you're on Linux, put on this command. QUIC handles NAT traversal well in most cases, but if you're having trouble connecting, make sure the port forward is specifically to UDP and not TCP. The symmetric NAT configurations may cause issues, so consider a VPS or dedicated server. And then players behind a carrier grade NAT, common with like mobile networks, should connect fine as clients. Now for the file structure. Make sure your pathing looks like this. Cache is to optimize for files. Logs is for the server log files. Mods if you've installed any mods that players need to download while connecting to the server. Universe for the world and player save data. Bans for banned players. Config for the server configuration. Permissions for the permission configuration. And if you're using a whitelist the players you want on your server. Now the universe structure. The universe/worlds directory contains all playable worlds. Each world has its own config. This is what it looks like by default. Now if you're installing mods for the server, download mods with either .zip or .jar from sources like CurseForge, and then drop them into the mods folder. Make sure you disable Sentry during active plugin development. Hytale uses Sentry to track crashes, and you can disable it with this command. The server ships with a pre-trained AOT cache called the Hytale server.aot that should improve boot times by skipping the JIT warmup. Linked in the description if you want to read more. Hytale recommends these plugins. The web server plugin is the base plugin for web applications and APIs. The Quarry plugin exposes server status like player count by using HTTP. The performance saver dynamically limits viewer distance based on resource usage. And the Prometheus exporter exposes detailed server and JVM metrics. View distance is the main driver for RAM usage, so it's recommended to limit maximum view distance to 12 chunks, which limits it to 384 blocks. This helps for both performance and gameplay. Now these next steps are not necessary, but if you're running multiple servers, this is important to know. Hytale supports native mechanisms for routing players between servers. The server sends a referral packet containing the target host, port, and an additional 4 KB payload. The client opens up a new connection to the target and presents the payload during the handshake. This is what that command line looks like. The use case for this, if you're setting this up, is mainly to transfer players between game servers, passing session context, or gating access behind matchmaking. During a connection handshake, the server can reject the player and redirect them to a different server. The client automatically connects to the redirected address. This is what that string looks like. The use case for this is for load balancing, regional server routing, or to enforce lobby-first connections. Now to building a proxy. If you want to build a custom proxy server, use Netty QUIC. Hytale uses QUIC exclusively for their client-server communication. Packet definitions and protocol structure are available in the Hytale server.jar. This is what the command line looks like. Use these to decode, inspect, modify, or to forward traffic between clients and the backend server. Now your server should be fully running. If you need any help or have any questions with how to set one up, or if something went wrong, let me know in the comments below and I will reply as soon as possible. Now back to Hytale.